And a good Tuesday, Sean Hammond here with you with an update on the severe weather situation. We just got a new outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, and they have now expanded that Level 3 enhanced risk of severe weather to include much of central Kentucky, points west all the way to Louisville, and then coming down as far as Campbellsville, parts of Casey and Greene counties here in our neck of the woods. Now, again, like I've been telling you, remember, this is just a forecast. Just because a storm crosses from the orange to the yellow doesn't mean it just magically disappears and becomes less intense. But this is just an overall forecast of, hey, storms may be a little bit more robust / intense in this orange area. And, one thing we were talking about last night is we were anticipating maybe multiple rounds of storms, maybe a round of this morning, and we didn't get that. And because of that, we are now going to have plenty of sunshine throughout the day today, which will allow the atmosphere to really destabilize, and that will, in turn, lead to that threat for strong to severe storms. Here is the updated tornado threat. Again, not much of a change with that. They've expanded that 5% down just a tad bit. But again, anybody has a risk of seeing a quick spin-up tornado today. The big thing we are going to be watching out for is the threat for damaging straight-line winds. Let's go look at that right now. They have expanded that 45%. That is the purple, the pinkish area, pinkish purple area, to include, again, kind of where that enhanced risk area is. And then surrounding that, you've got the 30% chance. We could have some areas, some places that get the 70 mile per hour wind gusts from some of these storms, maybe even higher. That's something we have to really watch out for. The hail threat, pretty much unchanged. The greatest hail threat going to be along that enhanced risk area. The biggest thing with the hail and the tornado threat as well is, do we have any individual isolated supercells, storms that are by themselves? Because if we can get some of those storms to get out there by themselves and stay by themselves, you got to remember, when a storm is on its own, it's not competing with other storms that align for the energy and the dynamics. So when you have a storm by itself, you have an enhanced tornado threat and a threat for larger hail as well. And then when you start getting into a squall line, you can have a few embedded tornadoes. But the biggest thing that you run into with squall lines is damaging straight line winds. So let's look at the radar right now. This is the radar as of 11:30 a.m. and things are pretty quiet across our area. Nothing really going on right now. A few spotty little showers over toward Mount Vernon, and some more spotty shower activity as the further east you go. Starting to see some activity developing to the north and east of Louisville around the LaGrange area. I got a thunderstorm up there. Nothing severe at this time just yet. All right, let's jump into the models here. We will go to the high resolution rapid refresh or the HER model. And, the models have been kind of going back and forth on the timing, and we are finally starting to see them come into agreement, at least in terms on a general time frame. Again, don't take these times exactly to the bank, but we have a pretty decent idea. So the timeline is at the top left of your screen. Let's start moving this forward. There's noon. Really nothing going on. 1 o'clock, we start to get some storms, maybe north of Lexington, and then the bulk of the activity, the main event, if you will, up there toward Bloomington, Indiana, extending to Cincinnati, and down to Vincennes, Indiana. 2 o'clock, coming into the Louisville metro area by 3. Here's 4, 5, 6, and then you start to see some, we got to watch out for anything that tries to develop out ahead of this cluster. Let me pull up the telestrator here. So there's that cluster right there. We got to watch out for any of these little individual cells that try to get out ahead of it, because those, again, will have that enhanced risk of a tornado and large hail. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, main show moves in, 9, 10, and then by the time we get to around midnight, a lot of this activity should be off into Tennessee. Now, again, don't take these times exactly to the bank. I want to jump over here to a different model. We will go to the RRFS model, and kind of the same story. Here's 5 o'clock, 6, 7, and don't come after me, kids, for saying 6, 7. There's 7 o'clock. Again, got that main line coming into portions of the Lake Cumberland area, 8, 9, 10, and then, again, similar to the HER, it's got that activity getting out here and going into Tennessee by around the midnight hour on early Wednesday morning. So we'll go back to the HER model and we'll look at some different parameters here. Let's back this up just a little bit. And I want to first start off with the CAPE here. We will go to the most unstable CAPE. And I want to remind you, we've had CAPE values under 1,000 before and have seen severe weather across Kentucky. So these are some pretty high values. I mean, you're talking over 3,700 joules per kilogram, getting close to 4,000 in portions of Kentucky. And then that just goes to show that these storms are going to have plenty of energy to feed off of. I want to show you this. I've not shown this a whole lot, but we will go to the helicity. Think of this as rotation tracks, if you will. This is just a model. Just because you see one of these go close to your area, it doesn't mean you're going to get a tornado. Doesn't mean it'll even verify. But this is the model saying, hey, there could be storms that are rotating in these areas. And so we will start to move through this. And you can see we got a few of those rotational tracks in parts of the area. But again, like I mentioned, don't take these exactly to the bank, okay? Let's look at I will pull up the significant tornado parameter. And, we've got numbers, coming up on 1, close to 2 units. And again, like I've been saying, the big threat we are really watching out for, folks, is damaging straight line winds. That's the big threat associated with this. Yes, there is a tornado threat that is there. We are monitoring that very closely. But again, don't sleep on the damaging winds. What have I told you? If you have 70, 80 mile per hour winds over a widespread area, that is the equivalent of a weak tornado. It's just more widespread. So you got to think about that. Nobody likes tornadoes, and those traditionally produce the most damage, especially some of the stronger tornadoes. But again, that wind is nothing to sleep on. So just remember to keep that in mind. Let's go back to the radar. And again, we are now at 1134. And like I said, just some pop-ups showing up across portions of the area. Nothing severe right now. And we're going to be watching out for stuff to develop up in portions of Illinois and Indiana, mainly Indiana. So we'll look at the outlooks one more time. Again, the SPC has made an expansion to that level 3 enhanced risk. That is the area in orange. Surrounding that is a level 2 slight risk. Like I said, main threat, damaging winds. That's the big threat today. Any storm, though, that is by itself and can maintain that supercellular structure, those storms will have a greater chance of producing a tornado and large hail as well. So we'll be keeping a close watch on it all afternoon and evening long, and we'll keep you up to date with the very latest. Have a good one, guys.